spawning in as the random player in the top left-hand side of the map will be uThermal.
And his opponent down here in the bottom right-hand corner, playing with the blue Protoss pieces, it is Harstem. You know, I think picking side delta is actually quite clever because you can get away with a low ground wall off on basically any map, I guess. Or sorry, against any race, I guess. Because that's kind of the issue you run into, right? Like, say it's a Protoss versus Protoss, it's kind of tricky to go for the low ground wall off. Say it's a Protoss versus Terran, you really want to... Where do you decide to put your first pylon? So against Protoss, I mean, uThermal is not going to tell his opponent what he is going to be playing, of course. That's the advantage of playing random. But I think against Protoss, random is actually, yeah, quite strong.
Yeah, no, it's I think Protoss is affected the most. Like with Terran, there's so many just baseline openers you can do to turn into different things. You know, Zerg can kind of figure it out before they've got to make too many decisions. So, yeah, it's not a bad time to be kind of playing random when you get up against the Protoss players. So.
It's so difficult to judge how good uThermal truly is, though, right? Like, he obviously doesn't actively compete in a lot of tournaments anymore. He makes a lot of, you know, videos about them, and he obviously messes around in events, and he plays high-ranking players all the time. But technically speaking, Harstem should be significantly advantaged in this particular series, especially when uThermal does not spawn in as Terran. I think Harstem will be 100% happy here that he went for the low ground expansion, that he went for... Well, that he spawned in, I guess, as a Zerg player. I have a very hard time imagining that uThermal is going to have a good time against Harstem's Protoss when he's playing Zerg.
Especially
at the same time, I guess that also means uThermal can like throw like a curveball and go for something crazy, but I'm not sure.
I was going to say, especially because Harstem PvZ especially has been so good lately. Like, I mean, he knocked Drano out of Atlanta, right? I mean, he has been absolutely one of the players to watch in the matchup, so... Yeah, hard to really imagine. I mean, we'll see what uThermal does. I feel like we're going to be seeing something kind of aggressive. I think we may even see, like, very fast Hydras, for example, is the kind of thing I've seen him do a couple times when playing against Protoss players with his Zerg. So, yeah, we'll see what he gets up to. The Stargate comes down here from Harstem, though, and that's going to just be a very standard opener for PvZ, of course. No surprises there. So, yeah. He just gets to play a very normal opening from here. And, I mean, if you're Harstem, you're just playing as safe as possible.
No, absolutely. I think Harstem, you just go for the most standard of standard build order, because usually that means you can't really die to anything silly, right? And that's your main goal, I think, when you're going up against a player who you're not 100% certain about, but who you feel like you are better in, especially when it goes to the later stages of the game. So Oracle with adept aggression, very powerful. We'll probably see a nice and early third Nexus just to be able to match that Zerg economy pretty much regardless. There's uThermal, though. Going into a lair. He left the drones and gas, he's skipping the third hatchery, and he's going straight into a lair. Could be Spire, could be Nidus Worm, could be Swarm Host, could really be anything, but at the very least it's going to be something unorthodox.
Yeah, I think Hydras, personally, I think Hydra Gen fast Hydras be kind of aggressive off of it, maybe, so... We'll see. Yep. Like you say, it really could be anything. I'm basing this off of, like, a game I saw, like...
Void Ray first.
A long time ago. Okay, mate, sure.
Oh, no, there's an Oracle into a Void Ray. I was going to say, that would be a super late first unit, but no, it's an Oracle into a Void Ray. Void Ray, I guess, is the jack-of-all-trades flying unit, right? You can't really take a lot of damage.
And you know what? It's so good against someone who may be being very aggressive because you can knock down nearby Overlords, so Nidus becomes a much tougher, idea. I think that's a big part of it, right? So it's also there safely early on. We're going to see Overlord speed off the lair. Okay. uThermal, I'm waiting to see what this build is.
It doesn't require a lair anymore. He does realize that, right? It's been a couple years.
Yeah, I mean...
He fired it up right as the lair finished.
Yeah, I know.
That is a bit of a funny one. I would imagine we're going to be ferrying a bunch of queens across the map.
Left for the drop lord? Just he hasn't started the drop lord yet? Yeah. Cool, okay.
Well, maybe we just went to lair.
I was really hyped up for the lair finishing, man, and then nothing happened.
Okay, there it is. There it is. 3 drop lords coming in. Does he see it? I think he just spotted it. Did Harstem just... I think he must have had a glimpse of it with that Oracle.
Yeah, I think so too, and he's going to start batteries up. He has absolutely realized exactly what is going on. So Harstem knows, Harstem is aware, and Harstem is going to be putting himself into, I think, pretty...
There's not even a room in all 3 Overlords. I like that there's 3 drop lords. Now Harstem is gonna have to play like whack-a-mole with Overlord, you know, like which one actually has the units inside of it. So mass drop, one of them is gonna go into the main base, 3 of them are going across the map, 1.5 or so of those are empty. Firtlings will be unloading over here. He's hoping an all army hotkey and that units are gonna be able to stream into the natural too, but it looks like that is not the case here for Harstem.
He's going to get the Adept there. The Queen's dropping off on that third base. The Stalkers and the Adepts are going to sit pretty well choked up, and we do have that battery in position as well, so that will help them to keep alive. Right now, I think uThermal's just missing the DPS to really do anything through a battery. Overcharge available. Oracle will go down quickly, but man, there's just too many units here. Stalkers and Adepts can just fight back, and no, and we know which Overlord. The Queens are in there, so the Overlord goes down. The Queens are stranded, and well, I think West are waving goodbye to game number 1 already. Harstem taking a good defense, although now getting surrounded by those Lings. That's not what he really wanted to happen, so a minor problem along the way.
Yeah, a little bit of a bump in the road, more so than anything, though. Assuming these probes will stay alive, at least the majority of them, he should be okay. Harstem with some nice hold positioning over here. Those Stalkers putting in quite a bit of work. Queens decided to turn around. Glaives, by the way, is just about to finish up here, so Harstem is going to be able to retaliate eventually, and should be having a pretty easy time against those Zerglings as well in just a moment. I mean, honestly, even if he kills this entire base, right? The entire third base falls, Harstem is still a hit.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 60 probes to like 30. He's in an amazing position. It's so hard to lose this game, right? And especially getting exhaustive Glaives, so there's nothing that really
you
fights
have to try
the
to lose this.
Yeah, I think so indeed. GG indeed. That's going to wrap us up nice and quickly there as Harstem takes game number 1. And that's what we kind of, I guess, expect, which is, you know, win. So, good start. He gets the job done. Obviously, uThermal brought the aggression, so uThermal tried to be pretty aggressive. Didn't work out. See what he has planned for game 2, but I guess that also depends on the, yeah, I guess that also depends on the race that you roll.
Yeah, it is kind of wild. It really does add an extra layer of strategy, I guess, right? So I'm a little surprised, actually, that Side Delta was allowed from the vetoes, because this is a relatively straightforward map, I think, I guess, especially against Protoss. We'll have to see exactly what game number 2 is going to be. Apparently that will be Dynasty.
Yeah.
All right.
Didn't we see Dynasty earlier?
We did see Dynasty earlier, yes.
Yeah,
that was
like, first Dynasty
the
pick of the tournament. I'm like,
PvP.
I don't think so.
No, that was the Protoss versus Protoss game that we saw. That was an absolute banger.
Game.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun,
game.
but some people could categorize that as stupid, sure.
I mean, I don't think some people, I think everyone categorizes it as stupid. That doesn't stop it being fun, but it was stupid.
A 17-minute long game where both players have only 2 bases. Yeah, that was a bit of a special one.
And the guy wins, but then refuses to not walk through the like the 1 mineral wall against Choke. Like,
very fun.
That was a real.
But yeah, that also, like that game number 1 though, just now between Harstem and uThermal, I think that's a good example as to why sometimes cheeses are not necessarily that great at the professional level, right? I get that question all the time, like why don't we see like a 12 pool rush or like a full-on proxy on the other side of the map? Like, yeah, technically they can work, but against high-ranking players, like for example Harstem, they've played against that a million times. They know exactly what to do. And even though that probably wasn't considered like the perfect defense by Harstem, maybe he could like criticize his own game. He was still so far ahead after that exchange. So it's gonna be tough if uThermal decides to cheese every game like that.
uThermal was just like, I forgot Overlord speed and an Overlord speed all in instant classic. I was like.
No.
Yeah, that probably would explain why we didn't know what the heck was going on when the when the Overlord speed started and the lair finished. Definitely,
he literally said in the chat, "I forgot Overlord speed with an Overlord speed all in."
Yeah.
Instant classic is what he calls it. Nice.
Instant classic. Well, I wouldn't say it was quite a classic. But,
no, I don't think it was really a classic. I don't think anybody's going to take notes from that one and decide, you know what, I'm going to give that a try.
It's matchup guessing time. I think we see PvP. PvP.
PvP?
Yeah.
Do you really want to play PvP against Harstem? I hope for uThermal's sake. Oh, okay. He spawns in as Terran, and guess what?
Guess what? Once upon a time, there's a Terran player. It's rigged. It's rigged. What if he just randoms as Terran for the rest of the tournament? And then he ends up winning?
Could be.
God. That would be insane.
Yeah.
Alright, in the bottom left-hand side, up a game from the Shopify Rebellion will be our Blue Protoss player, Harstem.
His opponent looking for a good YouTube video title. Can he find one? It is uThermal. I cheese Harstem in every game in this X amount of dollar tournament. Something like that. My opponent did not expect this in this X amount of dollars tournament. It's very important to put the dollar value in the title.
I forgot overlord speed in an X dollar tournament. and then you're like, oh, well, how did you win? It's like, no, I actually got smashed. I lost me the game.
It's an 8-minute video of uThermal absolutely getting
He's like, yes,
it's just for the title and the thumbnail.
Yeah, something along those lines. Well,
great idea. Well, so far that first game was not quite ideal for uThermal, but now he's playing Terran. So, in case you haven't watched a lot of StarCraft, uThermal for about a decade was a professional Terran player. So, he should know how to play it. But then again, he hasn't really played at this level for quite a while. I can imagine he still feels far more comfortable playing Terran than he does with Protoss and with Zerg. But he's going up against Harstem, and Harstem is, of course, one of Euro's greatest Protosses. So, it's an uphill battle, no matter what.
Absolutely is. As you see Reaper coming up, Orbital Factory all going through, and all of that on the go. As you see our Cyber Core coming in as well. Nexus also on the way out. Just bringing this up, getting this going. Away we go.
I kind of like this map choice actually as well here for Harstem. Like, he went for the high ground pylon into a gateway over there. I guess if it would have been Zerg, he could have expanded to the gold.
Yeah.
So there's actually... Because that's the main dilemma you run into here as Protoss. Like, where do you put your first structures?
Yeah,
well, this map,
super important.
Not bad.
Yeah, no, it feels as though the maps are kind of giving Harstem ways to kind of decide where to expand. He's not doing it too quickly or anything, so just being very calm, being very patient. He's not taking my approach when I play against random players, which is just to instantly cry and complain. He's actually thinking about it and thinking of a good approach to deal with it, so yeah.
All right, we're going to go double Reaper production. Normally we see the big switcheroo and we go for a bunch of Hellions instead, but this is one way of doing it. It's going to be a Stargate, by the way, here defensively for Harstem. Could obviously just go into an Oracle. If he's feeling really threatened, he could even go into a Void Ray. Again, normally not units that we see made, but it's possible.
I refuse to believe he'll build a Void Ray.
I don't think so either, but
Does a Void Ray even
I feel
help
like
you?
as Harstem, you just play survival, right? Now, there's no way he's going to do it as his first unit. But maybe as soon as he realizes this could be some wild aggression.
I think you just keep building Phoenix. Phoenix is pretty good against aggro now.
Yeah. That's true. I feel like as Harstem, your main objective in a game like this is just to try and get it to the 10-minute mark, you know? Like, try to just survive for a while.
Yeah. You see a couple of Hellions going to show up on the natural there. I'm just going to be seeing those probes. Going to be coming about a little bit. Got ourselves the Reapers moving around also. I'm just going to be having the Viking, the Marine, Cloaking coming up. Started Cloaking for a second, cancel it, so just trying to fake an idea or something. And those Reapers are going to be out of there, so far so good.
Absolutely. So there is, of course, by the way, a qualifier for this event, so uThermal certainly managed to win there as well, playing a random. It's not like he just signed up for this event and got to play immediately. Certainly already showing us some games, and he's still a very formidable player.
Yep. Well,
it's just now not only you're facing pro gamers.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's impressive to qualify as random in the first place. And it's random, like, it can look good, even his non-Terran matchups. It's just, it's always going to be an uphill battle. But that's the fun of kind of watching him play. Like, what can he actually achieve here? Can he take a map? Can he take a couple? What kind of crazy stuff does he come out with to try and win? Obviously, Overlord speed all in. Attempt in the first game, that sort of stuff. He's gonna be an entertaining player to watch over the next couple of weeks.
Pretty normal build, though, all things considered right now from uThermal. Nothing all too crazy. I mean, we had those additional Reapers, but I'm kind of waiting for where he is going to be throwing the curveball next, you know? Like, what he's going to be bringing. I'm kind of expecting a battle crew. Yeah, you know, anything wild here. But so far, this is surprisingly normal, and that puts him in a pretty good position. But of course, again, you have to win against Harstem then in a macro game if that's the goal. Is that really something you want to do? It's going to be charged, by the way, on the back of this right here for Harstem, not favoring the quick Colossi or anything like that.
Yep, I'm just getting that charge upgrade started. You do see the Phoenix showing up. We're going to grab a couple of SCVs, so some damage being dealt. And it'll just cause a little bit of trouble. I mean, already nice, right? You're just chipping away at your opponent's economy and making it more difficult for them. You're just, again, putting yourself in a good little spot in these early stages. I mean, again, as far as Harstem's concerned, he sees everything. He sees the standard setup. He's moving into charge.
Yep.
He's getting a good, answer to any kind of bigger attack coming his way. All of that coming through. And that ready to rumble.
Yeah, the problem here for uThermal is that he's kind of playing against Harstem, who will play against this sort of style all day, every day, right? Like, this is something that uThermal has practiced, but not nearly as much as Harstem, I can imagine. So Harstem will be more than keen to just keep playing this. The chart slot follow-up is kind of cool, but the problem is that chart slot don't have an easy time getting to the other side of those golden mineral fields. Then again, though, this is, of course, triple Nexus economy right now. Ooh, one cheeky little widow mine. Triple Nexus economy right here for the Protoss player. uThermal praying that he was going to get a massive connection right there with that mine. There are a couple here hiding behind that structure. Nicely done, but this is one of the few flying, or one of the few early game units for Protoss that does stay alive against a widow mine hit.
Yep. You can take one hit, just don't take a second, and don't let 2 units near each other get hit because the splash will kill, as we do get FD probes, so damage being done. There's gold base being punched a little bit as these Marines show up as well. They'd like to get some damage dealt. Now, units are going to be on top of this pretty quickly. There's Zealots charging over, and these Marines are now stranded, so unfortunately, this is not going to go anywhere for uThermal. This is going to be a pretty quick shutdown, in fact.
Yeah, even if there was a matter of fact, those Phoenixes were already heading back home as well, so no easy way to pick it up. Okay, now Stimpak finishes up. Generally speaking, finishing up Stimpak before a fight is preferable.
Yep. Stimpak is pretty useful, so further useful for the fight.
It's alright, it's alright.
It's alright, it's okay. Even in the hands of a random player,
Okay, Widowmine drop is going to move across the map once more. Robo facility only about halfway done at this point for Harstem. Yeah, he doesn't really want to commit into a whole lot of those Phoenixes a whole lot of those Widow Mines just yet. Big Widow Mine drop, it looks like, though, as we have no reaction here from Harstem.
Huge. Well, at the same time, we're going to get force fielded to the low ground. Yeah, okay. Interesting.
He cleaned out all of those Widow Mines here, so he doesn't even need the detection, I guess. Now he's also lifting up a couple of units on the other end of that force field. Loads of SCVs go down, and, well, there it is. Maybe not the cleanest of games right there for the Dutch Protoss, but still a solid victory nonetheless.